Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher. And on today's episode, we're talking with Connor Sweeney about how he's building a premium niche home service business and scaling it across multiple markets. Thanks so much for joining us today, Connor.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, for sure. So could you take a sec, just like give us a quick rundown? I know we talked pre-show. You said you
Yeah.
did some really cool stuff and then what's your business?
Yeah. So I've always been an entrepreneur, business owner, kind of small startup stuff, all the way up to running big businesses as an employee, and then kind of on my own the last like 10 or so years. I've Epic Turf in general, Epic Turf Group, kind of my main business. Started as just a high-end golf green building company on the side, and then it kind of morphed into this. Hey, now let's do lawns. Hey, let's do other things, right? And now we do golf simulators and basketball and pickleball courts, and we do some landscaping now, just because we're in these customers' backyards. So it's morphed all throughout over the last 5 years or so. And Epic Turf Group itself has a bunch of divisions: Epic Golf Sims, Epic Courts, Epic Outdoor Services. We are based in Holland, Michigan, which is right on the lake west of Grand Rapids. We service the whole state of Michigan. I'm right in the middle of an acquisition of a guy in Illinois, so we'll be branching into the Chicago market pretty aggressively in 2026. And then I've got an office in Northport, Florida, which is between Sarasota and Punta Gorda on the west side of the state. So we kind of service Tampa down to Naples in Florida. So yeah, kind of all over the board. The Florida thing was really to keep all of our guys working. Winters in Michigan, obviously, there's not a lot of outdoor work to do here then, which also why we got into golf simulators and some of these other indoor. We're doing big baseball facility right now, 20,000 square foot training facility with turf and netting. So I mean, we're kind of a general construction company at this point, but it's kind of the niche, like you said, in the like higher end recreation space, I guess. So
Yeah, I love it. And talking pre-show, I mean, you scaled this business, multi-7 figures, and it hasn't been through just like the Google gods blessing you with leads or something. Like what,
right.
how have you, is it like through relationships? Is it through brute force of cold calling and outreach, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a mix of everything. We started as a dealer for one of the manufacturers. They kind of sell and manufacture all the surfacing products out there. And so that was kind of how it began. And then it just kind of morphed into, hey, I can't be reliant on one brand, one manufacturer, one thing. And then obviously our ability to problem solve and help people figure stuff out is really the key thing. Like our niche and what we're in, everything we do is kind of specialty, and typically our customer, whether it's a contractor working for somebody already or an end homeowner or a facility owner, they've never done what we do typically, and so they're looking to us to be the consultant, architect, sourcer, builder, everything. And that's kind of how I've built my whole career, is just around things that nobody knows how to do, and that is chaos in the day to day, as you can imagine. All my employees probably shake their head every time I walk in the room, because it's constantly like, all right, what's he going to come up with next, and how are we going to figure that shit out, right? And so it's been fun, but it's also stressful, and like we talked about before the show, like the 1 to 3 million like world that I've lived in the last few years is extreme chaos, and going from 3 to 10 million is what is going to be kind of the next challenge I got, and the next challenge my team has, and kind of elevating up or elevating out really is kind of how it's got to go, I think. So yeah, we're excited. It's good. So
yeah, the 3 to 5, like to go from 3 to 5, this is the exact thing that I had, 3 million, and then went to 5 million. And the biggest thing was the data integrity. So like when I went at the $3 million business, I used to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was trained on a $27 billion family-owned business of how to run a local service business that was $2 million. And I was the number one branch manager. And when I went to work at this duct cleaning company that was $3 million, they had no scorecard. They didn't know leads year over year. They didn't know jobs year over year. They didn't know estimate count year over year. They didn't know estimate close, new customers, all that stuff. So I built this scorecard, and then I dialed in return on ad spend. And it was pretty easy to be like, okay, well, we just need more of these and more of this and the data. I would say from 3 to 5, that's good. And then also around 4 to 5 is like what we did was start building out our leadership team. So we got a COO, GM, we had an ops director. The owner was like you, like a sales, like savant, commercial guy. Like everyone loved him. You could go in and sell whatever. And then I was really focused on operations and driving growth with the customer service reps and all the stuff. And that helped us scale. And I would say, like, for you, that's probably like the next couple things that I would
Yep.
recommend doing for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
You mentioned about like, your customer experience and like maybe even branding of some sort. Is there like maybe a couple of things that you could pinpoint that's like, this is how I elevated the customer experience to show that we're a premium brand, or like, this is what I do,
Yeah.
aside from just like being available? Maybe that's part of it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a tough one, right?
yeah,
Because like we have great customers, but we also, we work for the top, 1 to 3% of people, right? We're selling
exactly.
$50,000 golf greens and $100,000 golf simulator setups, and I mean, these
Yeah.
people are, bless their souls, they're needy, right? And so
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say like the availability and like working with me is probably the number one thing, which also what makes it super difficult to get more salespeople and scale this and keep that same customer experience for those people. Right? I want employees and people to have good quality of life, but I do respond to everybody at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night, right? Like I don't expect my employees to do that, and so continuing to use AI and automation and some of these systems that are now available to us to like keep that same similar customer experience, I think is probably one of the biggest, hardest things for us. But it also, it's also the biggest advantage we have, right? Because we do those things that those other people don't do, right? And so, yeah, I think that's the number one thing. And then obviously just the fact that, we have, and all of my guys and girls have the approach that the customer's not necessarily always right, but they certainly their opinion matters, and we're going to listen to them, and we're going to do everything we can to please them and make them happy, right? They're spending a lot of money with us, and no offense to people mowing lawns or transactional stuff business, but like if I lose a customer, it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
If you lose, if you, our customer concentration, is smaller because of the size of the projects we're doing. And so, not to say our customers are more important than other people's customers, but at the end of the day, they are to us, right? And so that relationship is huge, and making sure they're happy and making sure that, obviously they're telling their friends, how smooth things went, how the communication was. That's one thing I've learned in the construction world. There's a lot of fly by pant, contractors that, they're taking a deposit to finish the job they're on, and we call it the hamster wheel, or the Ponzi scheme, the contractor
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme, right? And really, at the end of the day, as long as you're communicating with people and telling them and being honest with them what's happening, why it's happening, people are understanding, right? They know life happens. They know suppliers suck. They know all of these things. But the second you just don't respond, or you're not there, or you don't communicate, that's where it stems back to. And ironically, my wife taught me that in our marriage, right? Like if I just communicate with her, it all goes smooth. But if I don't, then we got problems, right? So
Exactly.
I try to ingrain that in everybody on the team, and ingrain that into the customer, and help set expectations like with them of like, hey, these are times where be here, not be here. Please leave, my lead guy alone after 5, right? He's got a family, right? So again, setting that expectation, showing the culture impact, and getting everybody rowing in the same direction is a big part of what we're doing or trying to do.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're a great leader in protecting your team, but also still, incentivizing them to deliver a great customer experience as well. So, like, that is really hard, fine line, and it also is like, it's working out. I would say, like, the guy in Illinois, like, systematizing that, to your point, that's the
Mhm.
part that's like the secret sauce that is
Yeah,
is tough for a lot of people.
yeah,
One guy that I talked to, he is recording his sales calls and then using AI to bring them into SOPs, and then giving them to the new guy to be like, hey, here's how I talk to the customer. Here's what I say. Here's the questions that I ask. Could be something maybe that's useful as you go through that process.
yeah. I like
Uh,
that.
yeah.
It's
It's,
it's crazy. So much of my sales process now is done via text message and like
oh, yeah.
emails,
That's
and
cool.
like not even on the phone. Which again, it's a time thing for me, right? Like I'm right now, I'm looking at my phone, it's blowing up, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm currently selling 4 things at the same
Yes.
time, right? So like figuring out how to train people to do that is definitely another level. And again, there's so much automation now that I don't utilize, and should, that it's constantly changing by the minute. So we got to definitely get on board with some of that stuff.
Yeah, dude. Great stuff. I want to ask you about retargeting and like maintenance agreements or anything, because like you're doing all this stuff. Like, do you have like,
Yeah.
has that been in the works or?
Yeah, so it's again one of those things of like where does the time come, or how do we make it happen? But I did take the plunge last year and created Epic Turf Care for my customers, which is literally its own business essentially. I've got a full crew now that is set up to do that and manage that. Which when you're smaller, you only have so many
Yeah.
clients. It's tough to do that, right? But I'm pretty excited about that launching into 2026. Like I
Nice.
said, basically a whole team, a whole process there. The best part about that is, right, when I acquiring this guy in Illinois, he's got hundreds of customers. We've got hundreds of customers now in our area, and so now it makes sense to have that dedicated setup, at least on the turf side, right? That's the hardest part of my business is, I'm running 7 different types of businesses within one, and so some days it's like, man, are we really spinning our wheels on this? Or do we need to do this now? And so
Yeah.
but those are the things that are going to take us to the next million, 2 million, 3 million more, is these different divisions that kind of play off of and increase that customer value for us. Like I said, customers are very important to us. That's a transactional thing compared to what we're used to doing. So kind of changes the whole process of how we transact and treat them and handle their inquiries and all the people that they touch and so on and so forth. Right. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely,
I
we
like
don't
it.
do a very good job of retargeting or reselling our customers, but it's definitely something that we're trying to invest in and have the proper, like, hey, when you buy something from us, this is the program you have to keep the warranty and have these other things after the fact. So again, a lot of systems and training that have to happen to get that dialed in, but it's
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I might recommend is having a content calendar like every month, January, February, March, April, May. And then like, based off of the different things that you do, like, hey, at this time, we probably want to talk about this thing. At this time, we want to talk about this thing. And then what we do is like, we'll have an email newsletter that goes out every single month. And then it will basically like cross sell a different service and then have like maybe like, the turf care there that's like always going on. And then like social posts and blog posts, it's kind of like all tied to this content calendar that revolves around whatever's going on in the
in that
seasonality of the
season.
business.
Yeah. And
So
our stuff is super seasonal, right? I mean,
yeah,
just being in Michigan, it has to be. And so, it's, I think one of the most frustrating things I have is customers that we've done one of our services or products for, they don't know we do the other service, right? Like I had a guy last week where I checked in with him. He's like, yeah, dude, I just got this golf simulator. It's awesome. Like, you're kidding me. Who'd you get a golf simulator from? That's literally my main business right now. Like, how did I not? This guy spent $100,000 with us before, right? So it's like, how does he not know? And it's like, that's on us or on me, to make sure we're doing that. And so, yeah, again, time, people, that's the
yeah.
biggest thing, is like having someone that understands all the business and able to help portray that. I just kind of took the plunge and hired a guy that's going to do biz dev only, like biz
Oh,
dev
nice.
networking, like old school marketing.
BNIs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like literally his job is to preach from the mountaintop all the things we do, right?
Love it.
And so that's, again, no structure to it. I just know I need it, so I hired him, and we'll figure it out as we go, right? But again, it's getting the right systems behind that hopefully can help us monetize it.
Yeah, for sure. Two things that I would maybe recommend to you, like definitely the email, like cross-selling stuff to your past prospects and customers would crush it because then this guy would know about the simulator. But then this new guy that you hired, what we did at my company was we would call all of our customers in the shoulder season and basically, talk to them about the new things that we have coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like great customer experience and customer service, but then
Yep.
also just like introducing all this new stuff.
Yep.
And then we would try to schedule them for like, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood next week. Let's just can I come by and take a look at what we did? And
Mm-hmm.
then like, get a lay of the land and then like, hey, oh, this would be a great spot for this. So it's just like kind of
Yeah.
taking what you're doing and like maybe blending it together with this
Yeah.
guy.
More proactive
E-
selling. Like we are
Exactly.
very much reactive salespeople right now
Exactly.
because I, number one, don't have salespeople, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing. And number two, it's just we're not generating enough. We're focused on generating new fresh leads, not regurgitating the ones we've already touched, right? And so
Exactly, man.
yeah, definitely good advice for sure. I mean, these are all things that we've thought of. It's just a matter of like, how do
Yeah.
you implement them, and how do you, I guess it's just a big ass retainer to you, and we rock and roll, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you ideas of things that like ways to grow your business as well. I am curious about the Florida thing. So do
Yeah.
the guys from Michigan like move them down there and then like
Yeah, so
after
yeah,
or what?
so it's been a nightmare, I'll be honest with you. It started as and we've this was the year I changed it. 2025 was the year I changed it. And I always tell everybody I've been half pregnant in Florida for a long time, which is a weird thing to think about, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
We we travel already. Like all our guys are on the road pretty much every week. We live in
Oh,
Airbnbs
wow.
and hotels, so like we're used to that concept in general. But it's typically in a more structured manner in certain areas, right? Whereas in Florida, we were traveling down there and working for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, then traveling home. We're driving trucks and trailers and equipment and everything down there,
Okay.
parking them in Walmart parking lots and semi storage, gravel
Yeah.
lots, and like no real structure at all. So I decided last year, I'm like, I'm done with this. We're buying a house. So I bought a house that the crew, and I promoted one of my guys to like the lead foreman in Florida, moved him down there. So he lives down there now. We've got a house with about an acre of land that we can keep all of our stuff. So we've got a home base. And then I also said, hey, we were selling anywhere in Florida. Like we just needed work. So if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a job and we can get it, we'll take it. So I remember last year we were in the Panhandle to Miami. Like we were all over the place. And so I said, we need to just like shrink the service area and just really dive in to try and focus on getting more sales in that area. And again,
Yeah.
it's basically been like starting a new business, and it's gone really, really slow, which sucks. I've lost a lot of money this winter of like doing all of this, but I think I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm starting to see that longer term is if we keep the hammer down, that we'll get the relationships, we'll get the contractors, we'll get the customers, and it will long term be the right solution, I think. But it's just
Exactly.
not, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I want it done in an hour, so that's been tough. But yeah, it's been great. But we still rotate guys down crew wise throughout the winters, and some of my guys get laid off in the winter and go back to Mexico or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we've got some local labor down there that we use. So it's kind of all over the board. I obviously love being in Florida. I've got 3 young kids and a family, and we're a basketball family. So winter
Oh, nice.
there's games and practices all over. So I don't get down there as much as I would love to. But longer term, obviously being in Florida is something I want to do. So
Yeah. Sick. Another idea that I just have for you was doing B2B partnerships. So
mhm.
like hardscapers,
Yep.
landscape lighting people, like they could definitely refer you and then they could get a cut of whatever they referred
Yep.
you.
Yep. So
You
we
know?
have a pretty good partner program like
Oh,
that.
cool, cool.
That's a big part of our. I guess when you asked for get biz, that wasn't something I mentioned, but it is that is a big part of it, right? A lot of times we're working for a contractor or with a contractor, and we do one job with them, and then they remember us, and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we got another one for you. And sometimes it's them just subbing us, and we're like part of their deal. Other times it's they're getting a 5% kick on any project they refer to us. We're with a lot of landscape supply houses, that are local that sell brick and mulch and rock and stuff to landscapers.
Exactly.
So we do a lot with them. We've got another division now starting this year called Epic Turf Supply, which is more of a wholesale distributor of synthetic turf and accessories and stuff, right? So that's continuing to grow. And synthetic turf's a weird niche as far as like the installer goes, right? Like the guy that is really good at seaming together turf and infilling and shaping is different than the guy that's really good with a plate compactor and a skid steer, right? And so
Yeah.
when you have a guy that can do both of those, like I do, that we pay them very well, and they do a very good job. But like most landscapers, they're good at one or the other, right? So it's turning into more like, hey, let me buy turf from you so I can install it. They do 1 or 2 jobs. They're like, I don't really want to do that again. So
Yeah.
then they do the base work, and then my guys come in and turf it, right? And so all those synergistic relationships like are huge for us. Obviously, synthetic turf in general has the market is booming in Florida, Arizona, Texas, California. It's really common, right? And the market's
Yeah.
saturated. In the Midwest, it's not, mostly because the seasonality, mostly because the weather and the water issues aren't an issue, right? There's plentiful amounts of water in the Midwest compared to some of these other states. So as the industry grows and changes too, right? It's a big education thing. I feel like I'm educating everybody every day, every
Yeah.
customer, every contractor, like, hey, how do we do this, or what is this, or why do you do this way, or what do you recommend, right? Like I it's just constant. It feels like I'm a consultant,
Yeah.
unpaid consultant, right? Which is frustrating. So yeah, but yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah, one of the things that what happened to me, I used to just get business cards passed to me, and it was like, "Cool, yeah, we'll hear from you, whatever." So what I ended up doing was putting those B2B partners into an email newsletter as well.
Okay, like a
So then I
separate.
could, yeah, a separate one. So then I
Mhm.
could like coach them, like, "Hey, I've been getting a lot of questions on this. Like, here you guys go. By the way, if you want to refer us, you get X amount of kickback. Here you go." And you're just like in their pocket.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not
I
just
like
like,
that.
"Oh, remember about you,"
Yeah, 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 I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, man. Cool, brother. Well, it's been great. Like I love talking to guys like you because you will never be short on ideas of how to grow a business and like serve the community. And so like you're doing a great job of that, man. And like
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
kudos to you, and like with the family too, dude. Like good stuff. Where should people go to learn about your business? Maybe they could be a referral partner, even like if you're listening to this, you
Yeah,
belong
yeah,
here. Like,
yeah. I got about 5 websites. EpicTurfGroup.com is kind of our main website. We got Epic-Courts.com. We got EpicGolfSims.com, Facebook, Instagram.
right.
We've got all the handles and stuff like that. I don't know if you can link our stuff in your
Yeah,
post or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but yeah, mostly online, or just reach out to me, cs@EpicTurfGroup.com. We love to work with everybody and help educate, help it grow the industry in general. This niche world, everybody wants to be in a niche until you have to actually do the niche, right? So yeah, but reach out. Love to work with everybody.
Cool. All right, brother. Take care, man. See ya.
Cool. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.